gaidu, kamēr... Jā, tagad es sevi dzirdu ļoti labi. Labdien. Sorry, I have to speak English most probably, yes? Yes. And then I can speak both languages at once. It will be mess at the end. So, I'm glad to be here. I'm not saying that I am the best knowing the topic as a Ministry of Economics representative, but what I know is that education in field of medicine is very important. It is very important not only because of service provided for our citizens, but because of if we want anything to be developed as a economically viable products for exports, then it's very important. So this is my knowledge point. So that's why I invite here somebody who is much more knowledgeable about education and science development. Representatives of university, Daiga Behmane, Riga University. Glad to see you there. Andrejs Erglis, he is both representing Latvian University, but he is well-known doctor in medicine. Talis Juhna, still new head of Riga Technical University, and I think that one of the representatives of what we see as a changes in university management. Then Aiga Balode, I'm glad to see you here. It's Ministry of Health. And I have to ask, is there Diana Laipniece? Because I can't see, but so it will be very good, because then we will be speaking without Ministry of Education, and then I can, in their name, agree on anything. So I think that it will be fantastic. We will use this opportunity to offer a lot of changes, which then they will have to deliver. So, to start discussion, I would be very glad that we start with university representatives. What I want to hear, and I think that it would be a good start for discussion, and I think that we could start, if you're not objecting, with Talis. Can you, in several minutes, point out what is current work in human capital, specifically in medicine, what you are doing? Because each of universities, I can imagine that it's quite clear what Riga University, from just knowing that you are medicine university and Latvian university doing in medicine field. But for Riga Technical University, in most cases, I do know what you are doing. But it would be very interesting to hear from you what is current work in this field, in programs in medicine.
Right, thank you for inviting me. As it was said that I'm just for about 4 months in my position at Riga Technical University, and obviously we are engineering and technology university, and we don't have a direct faculty or the single program dealing with healthcare, but I think what is important for us is to make connections to other universities in the field to integrate more of engineering and technology in the healthcare. And I will just give you a few examples what we are doing right now. We have a joint program with Stradin University on medical physics. So basically there's a great demand for engineers in hospitals. So by creating this program, we provided, I think, a good balance between health specialists and engineers, and it's been quite demanded program actually during the last couple of years. And also, I think worth to mention that we work with Latvian University. We have bioengineering and biotechnology program. It goes the same way. So by complementing competencies from 2 universities, we can offer a very good program, again, with the high competitions to getting in. So these are just examples, but I would like to just mention that in general, if you look at the education system, that there is more and more demand from student point of view to make multidisciplinary programs. And I have to say that our education system is not ready for these kind of programs yet, because this how do you organize, let's say, a starting program, it's over, let's say, regulated. And even though there is a great demand for these kind of programs, I think that what we need to do is to look more into the flexibility. How do we establish programs, actually how we do teaching. And just to finish up how we do it, in university, technical university, we realized that the way you teach or work with students is very different as it was maybe 10 years ago. We have more hands-on experience, what we provide to our students in terms of very challenging projects, working in multidisciplinary groups, and this is something which is also very well taken by the students. So just to, I can go in more details, but this is something what we experience right now, and the reason for that is that the technology development cycles are getting shorter and shorter. Then the skills what students will need are changing faster than you can design the program. And for this, I think we need to really change in the way we actually run our education, high education at university level. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess that if you want, you can take, each of you can take a microphone, but and I ask you if when we are discussing, somebody of you want to intervene, then you're right, we will make it as fluid and natural as possible. Can I ask the same question to Riga University? What is now your top, what you are doing in education of medicine? I know that a lot, but probably you can point out.
Thank you for inviting. And yeah, my name is Daiga Behmane, and my background is economics, but I represent Riga University. So I want to also emphasize what was said already, is that nowadays education in healthcare requires multidisciplinary approach. And as we all know, Stradiņš University is famous for its medicine program. But what we have realized and how we look to the future of education, that as well in medicine program, and we have give more competencies related to the management of system. And therefore we have developed specific programs, and I'm heading program in health management, also including health economics. And now we develop a new program in digital health, because these are the new skills which will be needed for the healthcare transformation. And I would say that for today's, let's say, topic of our discussion, I would be more maybe ambitious, and I would say not only for healthcare, but for healthcare transition, because if I speak today about the precision medicine, it means great transition in medicine. But it requires as well transition in the health system, as it requires new management approaches, new project management approaches, and therefore I think we are here in this great company to tell what we are doing already together, because we have programs together, and we have good and future-related projects we are working together with both universities.
Mm. And then Latvian University, Andrejs, could you please point out what is Latvian University today's agenda in medicine?
First of all, yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me here. And of course, it is a very interesting topic. I will divide in two parts. One, how I look from perspective of University of Latvia, because the medicine is primary came from University of Latvia in Latvia, and then it's only in Soviet times and divide and went to Institute of Riga Medicine Institute, and then we also are having representative from Ministry of Education. This is so important. But I have some relationship also with name of Stradiņš, and that's why it is. Of course, we are really, how to say, doing things together. But there is a couple things, and one thing, if no, fortunately, I should, but I can't replace rector of university and Andrejs Erglis, because he's usually very, very how to advocate it, what we do and how he should go in university. And what we do now, we're trying to, in last 5 years, but now we speed up in last 2 years, we are going for integrated programs. And actually one of our biggest targets is to put and to dedicate a new faculty, which will be the medicine and the natural sciences. So it doesn't matter how you call, we don't know exactly the real name, but first of all, what we try to do is to put together basic sciences with clinical sciences, and then also it is very important because, you know, I know all those guys who are here, and we did so many things together, and that's why I'm really happy that Talis is here, because it looks like from first look that it is so far from medicine, but actually in future, what Daiga says, it is very close. And one thing what I really want to say that as Vice President of Academy of Science, and also in how long we are working with you, with Ministry of Economics together, we should not to divide, or maybe not to even to do some concurrence between universities. It's the only single way how to go. It is to go together, and with all our strengths in each university. But what Daiga says, I guess it is really transition in medicine. And first of all, and this is not a Latvian problem, this is a worldwide. You should know what will be, which is difficult, but you should know at least to presume what will be in medicine next 15 years. And then if you want to do that, you should be in world medicine, not what we sometimes, what I even from, I will not call what to say that, but says that you are mostly in international science, but we are looking more on Latvian science. There is no Latvian or international science. Science is it's a unique, and it is worldwide and cross-border science. And then if you are in this actually absolutely world scientific community, then you can reach and you can find in which element we can be strong. And also, as I said, and what we discussed so many times, it is of course team science. It's no question. I'm working with team science, and even in theoretical level, last 20 years, there's a wrong. There's a mismatch between personalized medicine and precision medicine. It is completely two different things. And this is what we need. First of all, we need to be clear with terms. But this is a so long discussion. I'm sorry that I'm a bit, how to say, but...
we have actually 1.5 hours, so we will touch that if we will lack points to discuss.
And this point I will finish
yes.
now, and then,
yes.
we'll see.
Yes. I think that it would be very interesting to elaborate a little bit what is the future, what is from perspective of health, Ministry of Health, what is, I don't know whether you can define 15 years ahead. As Ministry of Economics, we always, as far as possible, 100 years is easier to define than 10 years. I'm joking, because you can't test it, so I can tell whatever it's needed. But from your perspective, what is these needs in the future? What would be challenges which you would say from education would be tackled now?
Let me confuse you even more, RAIMONDS. I'm really amazed about this conference. I think it should be called Precision and Focus Conference. Why? I don't know why I am not leading this panel on human capital, but in the afternoon I'm leading the panel on health economy. Well, it's wise, and even for a special treat, I get to do it in Latvian. So for those of you who have so many questions to ask, feel free to join. Then I made this day even more clumsy for me because I brought something with me. It's not me who should be sitting here. It's the doctors, the nurses, the administrative staff, all the people involved in the healthcare. And actually, this is a painting by Gillian Verzet. She is a Belgian artist. At the same time, she is a nurse. She is a nurse at the hospital. And this picture was given to me as representative of the Ministry for Health this July with a message from the Minister of Health from Luxembourg. And she quoted actually Gillian Verzet, and I'm quoting too because I can't remember all the words. She said, trust, empathy, responsibility, and spirituality, they are so typical to so many of us in the healthcare. And the message given by the Luxembourg minister was, when you talk about healthcare, when you talk about all the opportunities, please do not forget about the workforce. They are humans. They are brothers, mothers, sisters, friends. And I also heard what Professor Erglis said today. When you talk about everything, think where you are hitting. We are hitting towards a desert of human capital, I would say. And if we don't do something, if we don't merge the powers of artificial intelligence or smart tools, if we don't cooperate together, we might wake up on the eve of desert. Why do I say so? The critical resources of Latvia. On average in EU, when we see for 10,000 inhabitants, 121 staff member. We have how many? 73. To further interest you in the issue, when we look at the doctors in Latvia, 48% above 55 plus. In Europe, 30. Well, doctor, you are there to stay for us, you know, and you always are there to ask, what's next? So when we talk about these big things, the human capital is very solid and real. So I'm really amazed to see that universities have taken the leading role and oftentimes nudging us ministries to support them and move forward. But at the end of the day, I still stand here on behalf of all the medical doctors and the burnout issue and the question of how will you provide normal work environment? How can we do that? And that's a very challenging issue, and the balancing of technologies, balancing of salaries, it's all on our table, and it's not that easy as we might know in Latvia. But I would like to say that the hope is there, because after a decade, EU has taken this issue on board, and the Belgian presidency will deal with the question of the workforce. So I would say that this, all what we're doing and what universities are preparing the students for, will help to build the resilience of healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we elaborate, Andrejs, on your question a little bit? What is from university perspective? The same question, what you see challenges, and especially your investment in education, in medicine. And probably I would start with Riga Tradition University.
So, yes, thank you. From my perspective, I see that the science of health management or health economics, digital health, can have to help also in this, let's say, problems with human capital in future, and there are should be, let's say, applied instruments like integrated care, like teamwork in healthcare, and the ultimate requirement, of course, is availability of data. And this for Latvia is a crucial thing, because nowadays we cannot speak about today's topic, we cannot speak about any transformation without data. Because if we speak about the medicine and the decisions taken, particularly for individual patients' treatment, actually without proper data about a wide range of data, it's not possible nowadays. And therefore, so how we see is that our role is now to promote digital health, to work together with other universities, and our role could be provide knowledge, and knowledge not only for doctors, but I would say that we have to find ways how to work together with public governance. Because, let's say, we are ready to change, we have the world level knowledge. As Professor Erglis said, we are in the worldwide scientific community, and we can overtake these scientific developments rather fast at university level. But the question is how to implement this in the governance of the system. Mm-hmm. So this is question, because we cannot govern like we did 10 years ago, or govern the future systems. And this is about knowledge. I would say that our role is to transfer and to provide knowledge also for public governance of the system. This is one thing, and also to be very fast in developing what we are doing now. So next semester we are ready already for providing specific courses in digital health.
Mm-hmm. Andrejs, your question, your answer?
My question with real my very huge respect to Daiga, and a bit to terms is actually we have a data, but we should teach, especially politicians, to use the data. And this is mostly, and it's not only politicians, it's also actually our audience to use the data. But you are right, of course, because I guess today it will be very interesting to at least 2 or 3 lectures. So not, I agree that there will be many lectures, but for me it would be very interesting. I know the Finnish colleagues. And then it is, for example, if you are looking on genetics, then you can't analyze genetics if you have no phenotyping, the population. And this is one of the biggest problems, and this is about our e-health or other things, because then we can follow up to patients and to understand in 10 years what happened in one or other way, because the genetics, what we know, the genome or genetic predisposition, it is just a 10–11% which works on our destiny. And another 90 is our lifestyle, and that's why I'm saying that personalized medicine is completely different, like precision medicine, because the precision medicine, it's everything. It is your kindergarten, it is your social media, it is your possibilities to get a doctor and then to follow up, and the quality of operations doesn't matter. Education, actually, mostly education. And for this reason, again, it is it's really the Ministry of Economics field. But I am completely agree with Daiga what she says. We need to transfer this, and it is everywhere. It's not only in Latvia; it's everywhere actually, and that's why it's. But we need resources for this. And when you are talking, and I really like what Aiga showed us, this nurse picture, and then Talis will I guess to continue, because I'm in medicine 40 years actually. I'm in lab even in 1985, and that's why it is I like this. In past was the Marta Kristinson, and then they brought everywhere this, and then she told about past, and that's now in how I do even in world. And then I seen so many, but now it's completely different, because what we need more in medicine, and I will tell you one provocative thing, I guess we should not go so much on quantity of medical doctors, but quality. And what we need more nurses, we need more medical physicians, because the nuclear medicine will coming. Other things, biology, cell biology, vascular biology, other. For this reason, I guess that all kind of social, directions and fields, and of course, for example, but we have 2 decades. We did in 2009 and then in 2019 cross-sectional study for Latvia. Actually, we know habits, we know many data. We never use that, never. We never use, and this is, I guess, it's actually transferring or transition, how we can use knowledge for some acting and to do some real things. This is how I see. But one thing is very important. You should be also in basic sciences very well, good. Otherwise, you can't understand meantime medicine. You can't do that. Actually, you can't do. This is what I am afraid about, this, I'd say, superficial teaching of medicine. We should go back to basics.
I see. Sorry. Riga Technical University.
Yeah, I think, of course, I will talk more from technology point of view. I completely agree that the future trend would be on more intelligent use of data. In terms of predicting, in terms of also being able to do survey on patients. So, and of course, there is a risk that, or maybe risk and opportunity that some of the human labor will be replaced because just using more sophisticated big data, you could have a better predictions. This is actually been shown already. So this is kind of trend we have to at least take into account. Well, by the way, talking about this one, we have a very practical example how we can engage students in this kind of exercise. We have one joint project well, sponsored by one big company where students from all universities are working on the challenge of cancer for kids. And they are trying to fuse data. During 1 year, they collect data, and then they try to do predictions better. So, so it's just like a small 1-year project, but it's something what we need more. We need more projects like that, where we engage future technologies, future medical specialists working on this kind of challenging ideas. So the data would be one big data, and also using high-performance computing to do more of modeling. And modeling is not just about, let's say, patient data, but it's also about what Andrejs mentioned about how do we better understand the functionality of our body. I mean, if you talk about cardiovascular system, this is just piping system, right? So which you need to understand, and you need to improve in terms of the modeling. You can use the same Nernst equations, you know, for doing improving, like understanding how the blood is circulating and etc. So it's you can do it with computer. So this is one of the development, you know, to better understand how the body is functioning, and there where you need really basic science. I agree. Next, I think, is about regenerative medicine. We also have a good example, actually, with Strathern University. We work on new type of bones and ligaments. So how these materials will be used in human body. So there is an excellent center here established in Latvia together with Switzerland and German colleagues. So this is one of the direction. Of course, we want to live longer, want that our organs are replaced. And this is one of the trends would, I think, certainly is emerging. And the last, I would say, everything about molecular biology, genetic, you know, so everything where, you know, CRISPR is, of course, it's an upcoming trend, and then how this could be used in future. Certainly it will be used. So I think strengthening molecular biology together with use of data, this is something which I think we have to look into.
Clear. So summarizing, so I think that from this discussion, that data and usage of data, then integration it with medicine for management, and clearly scientific approach to this one. Yes?
Yes, I just wanted to add about general health literacy. We've been fighting with Ministry of Education where to stick it in the fully loaded curriculum of first graders on. But if it's not there, then the reminder that comes to us individuals later on is much harsher. My dermatologist, you know what, she told me that I sit too much. But it's not her business, but she already sees me holistically by saying, if you keep sitting so much, then something will even worse happen. And don't I know that? I do. How do I change my habits? Where is the supporting environment? Because the doctors, the academics will do their work, but who is transiting then? Oops, sorry. My wonderful colored leaflets. It's fine, I don't need them. And I think that's something what also Riga Student University is doing quite a lot, and there will be a conference tomorrow, how to change the habits. Because one day it's fine, especially on the 1st of January, we all do that. How do we stick it and make a different lifestyle? And this morning in the panel session, I heard two things from two different speakers. One was, it was hard to convince to participate in gene sequencing. So again, human capital to convince other human capital for cooperation. And then regarding the oncology, that it becomes passionate when it becomes personal. So I think it's our work for the ministries to make this work.
Yep. And now next 3 hours for Ministry of Education and Science, because we collected huge amount of questions. But what I wanted, probably not to cover everything, but we already touched that a lot of these things is overlapping between education and science. And probably you can a little bit elaborate, what do you think about science link to education, especially in medicine?
Okay. I will start by saying that I think precision medicine is definitely the direction of the future, and those who arrive at the future first are those who benefit most in all senses, from medicine to business to society. And I think the future is not only precision medicine, as in you treat the disease in the most appropriate individual way, but also the word lifestyle already sounded in our panel. So I think precision lifestyle is also the way to go. For example, personally, I did the genetic testing about 10 years ago already. So I had to spit in the tube, to send the tube, seal it and send it to the US, and I got a very interesting report on my genetic composition and which diseases I'm likely or less likely to have. It was just, I did it as a curious individual. It's very interesting. For example, I had all kind of things like type 2 diabetes was there all the time, which totally makes sense, taking into account that my father had it, my grandfather had it, etc. But I'm perfectly fine, luckily for my ripe old age, because I kind of took it into account already a long time ago, even before the genetic testing. I obviously understand that this is something I have likelihood to get, so I'm still perfectly fine. And on this anecdotal level, what I'm saying is that I did it just personally out of curiosity mostly, but I think this is the way to go in a systemic way, pretty much. One day, at least the developed countries first will arrive at these systems that actually you don't try to guess, you try to take all the data available and understand that this individual is likely to have those diseases, but not so likely to have these diseases. And obviously you work with those risk areas, and obviously you make life better and longer because you don't wait the moment when you get the disease, and a serious one, but you prevent it as far as it is possible. So taking all this, now taking about systemic approach, obviously we need science, and obviously we need education in many ways. And I think, speaking as a system level, in science we have generally the right system of funding the science, just we need more money. We have new system of base funding for science, which is, I think, good enough. Those are like indicators they use in Finland, etc. So it's very good system. We just need, like, we purchased a good car, now we just need like petrol for the car, or maybe electricity, doesn't matter, but you get the point. And we have, let's say, we also finance fundamental and applied science, where scientists can bring their own topics. We don't enforce it on them, they can bring their own topics, international experts evaluate those projects, and they get funding. But also the competition is very high because we just need more money for this tool of financing the projects which scientists bring, and scientists are usually the ones who see the future first and start the trends which general public does not understand yet and is not yet aware that those are the trends. And obviously in education we have more work to do. Yes, let's be honest, in many ways I actually agree that many elementary things about health need to be taught at the school level, and also in terms of, let's say, higher education, we need to change the system, how we finance the higher education, to focus on the results, not on the process. And also now we pretty much kind of don't finance the lifelong education in any systemic way. So this is one of the things which will be important both for the, let's say, medical professions, obviously, but also for many others. How do we engage in lifelong learning? We don't finance it, as I say. Now there are some projects, this and that is happening, but it's not yet systemic, and this is something we need to do with our human capital.
I see. You touched education of general education. Just for my curiosity, in general education, have been involved Ministry of Health and universities too, like what you were saying, that there is not only the training of workers but general society too, to understand what to do with this information. How is this, and this is really a curiosity question, how this cooperation is actually working?
You go ahead. Well, I'm not so much into schools, so I'm not that informed on the topic, unfortunately.
Well, I have been in the Ministry of Health for a year and 3 months, I think, and it has been speed rocketing for me. So Talis, I think if we work closer, you will love the medical stuff even more. It's really amazing. And I think that amazes me how the sector is opening up in general. And I think when we talk about children and their education, it should start from the kindergarten on. So I was very happy that this May, the Minister of Agriculture went to Finland to study how to improve food in schools and kindergartens, because when it's awful, you think the healthy eating is awful, and you get it in your brain already when you're little, so candies, Coke, and everything else is wonderful. And then when you're older, it's hard to change it. So we completely understand the Ministry of Education that the curriculum is overloaded with everything that kids need to know. And we've been trying to go around and find where to put it in. But at the same time, we had shadow days this spring, and what the school children told us, please don't make another reform without us. We don't have a place to hang around after the school because everything is either going to playing sports or something. So we have to make this healthy environment also in schools, and there are a lot of things to do. So it's not like we do not cooperate, but we also see all the other things, and we see the time is running away, and you can't keep kids in school till 5 o'clock and to expect that they are healthy. They need mental breaks, just running around as we all do. So I recently talked to our Estonian colleagues, and they asked me, why do you still try to multi-function? Just take 3 priorities. So I think maybe we have to delegate it to schools by saying, how do you see your school more healthy, rather than always trying to add from the ministry's perspective. But I think it's very important. I see that Professor disagrees with me.
No, I agree. Okay. I will say
But
after.
there is no right or wrong thing. And I see the long hours of children. So for us to add additional hour on healthy life and living is not the right place. But I would say that I would again say that tomorrow is this conference on how to change your habits and lifestyle. We have also been talking with Riga Stradiņš University professors that they have to come and help us, and they have to make sometimes brainstorm without ministry, with the ministry, as there are opportunities also to change home environment, but it takes time. And we have to see what are the small steps that we make. And I think the ugly part for me that I have to be example. So I have to be example too, either for sports or for healthy living, because we know that it's not that easy. If your day is overloaded, so we should expect the same for others. So either lessen your workload, work smarter, rely on others, and build trust. And I think there we will find the golden line.
Andrejs, do you want? Or
I would like to add, thank you, Aiga, for bringing this question. I think that there is a very important thing, what we speak about the new concept, which is person-centered healthcare, meaning that it's about engagement. Because it's not the old times when just only doctor decides what treatment should be applied. Actually, we have to ask patient, we have to ask parents, what is their approach, what they feel, how do they feel. And so by asking these questions and more explaining and giving more information, we can have a great progress, I think, because involvement and engagement is a part of this. Because you cannot actually change your lifestyle if nobody asks you, if nobody helps you to deal with this.
No, I agree. I agree. I just shake a hand, the head, because we went through all of this, and I'm quite long in medicine, and I'm very simple guy. I'm stupid interventionist, and just yesterday I did operations day before, and today we canceled, for example, 3 operations because we have infection. What Talis is doing in together with our medical society and especially with Professor Ugadums and others from University of Latvia, they are now trying to get new tools how to avoid infection. But you know, then you can imagine this is like technical things, one technical thing which can really to change landscape. And I really like what you says about this habit, because again and again, you know, in medicine, even during this lifespan, and it is 40 years in medicine, then the fashions are going and coming. And then was, for example, I did a PhD, then at that time it was in the end of 90s or very early 0 years. Everything, if you, and then also I did research also on genes on cardiovascular disease. And at that time, it doesn't matter what you send to journals, everything was published. But it's real bullshit. And for example, the same thing is what Talis says about this 1 year. If you look on genetic things and lifestyle things, this 1 year is not for medicine, it's not for science. This is what we should avoid. Also, I really disagree with these foreign experts. I mean, this checking our science, because we have also as well as competition, and it's better than to be in cross-border studies. But we also need our home science, and then because the science also to giving us or pushing us our educational level. And for example, now what we are discussing in so prominent and noble audience, I'm like a bit dreaming, because I really remember what we did, for example, 20 years ago. We had one period, it's a fantastic period when Daiga chaired this, I forgot the name, but health economics, because you know they always every 2 years they are changing names of organizations, and they are doing that. They are thinking that it is much better. Unfortunately, it's very difficult then to again and again to explain for authorities. Now it's better going, and I guess this is our main tool how to maybe also not very easy things to explain and to make simple for simple understanding. But as Einstein says, we should make everything simple but not simplified. This is, what I guess we should do, and how we should go further.
Talis, you have to say.
Yeah, just coming back to this point about kids and how to encourage them to choose fields. I'm talking in general about STEM. So our experience, we have our engineering school. Of course, we talk about high school level. Is that in order to boost the skills and also get better results in exam, you have to have more science at the school already. Because what our kids, these 25 guys graduating every year, getting the best prizes in all kind of competition, they have really personalized teaching, what we provide for them. And this teaching is more based on science. So even mathematics, physics, so they kind of learning the method, how to acquire knowledge already in the school. And this allows them to become better in math and physics. And this is about teachers, right? So, and how do we work with teachers? How we engage actually more universities working with the kids. I'm talking about high school level. Of course, maybe the primary school is different, I don't know. But for the high school, we need to engage more of university professors working with kids already there. So when they are finishing, they already know what science is about, and then have an interest about science, and they continue through their education in university. At least this is our experience. This is how why we have, I think, relatively good success with this school. Of course, the selection is another story. But regarding, I think what Andrejs was mentioning, I think there's this concept of one health. When we look at the health, not just from the health perspective, but also from environment. Like example, what was about using wastewater for monitoring epidemiology. And in fact, we had a project where we not only using the wastewater as such, but we used also phone calls, so to identify, increase accuracy of predictions. You imagine this, you know, how the medicine and environment and technology are emerging together, using phone calls to predict how many kids, how many patients you might have in future. So it's amazing what happens there because you need to link different fields of expertise. And the challenge here is that existing education, I'm talking about higher education system, is, I think, is not ready for that. And what was mentioning about the different model, how do we fund universities? How do we make them more interact in terms of programs, in terms of staff exchange? So this is very important in order to really you know, be in the same speed where the technologies are developing. And again, we have to be more flexible, providing not only the study programs, of course, the learn education, but also maybe think about something which is becoming more and more prominent also elsewhere, micro-credentials. So basically, you can work on a special, collecting certain number of, you know, credit points, and then over a period of time you can graduate from university. So this is something, these are the models which are out there, but I think we are too slow to adopt these models. And I think this is, it's more into the field of education and science, of course.
Tian, do you want to add something?
Yes, okay. So I think, yes, we actually plan to start next year the pilot project on micro-credentials. You are absolutely right, again, that this is the direction to go. Yeah? It works anyway, okay. So...
It is. Stereo. Now it will be stereo.
Yeah. So we will start the pilot project on micro-credentials, and let's see how it works. And yes, I also think that higher education will be more and more like a kind of a portfolio of skills and knowledge, not like in the 19th century you have like one profession, this is what you study and this is it, but it will be like you will gather your own portfolio like a Lego toy, yes. So you will have something from programming, maybe something from foreign language, maybe something else from medicine, for example, and you can do very interesting things with such education. And also you will not stop there, obviously after a while, maybe in any profession you will again need some new piece of knowledge as a skill, and that's why you will go back to university for like micro-credentials program. So let's start with pilot and let's refine it in the process, and hopefully let's implement it as a system in the future.
Yep.
For me, just to add, the word healthcare means care, and care is always personal. Otherwise, it's a service provided the same for everyone. And when we talk about healthcare, I'm really happy to hear about your micro-credentials, because it's home care, self-care, hospital care, all kinds of cares, and they require all different skills, all different approaches. So if somebody is still doubting that the healthcare is an interesting field, I definitely say it is. And the new professions arise, skill sets change, and Daiga was completely right that we need to have this systemic approach to lifelong learning. But at the same time, I think we need to find a way how our doctors have time for science. They are running, like Professor Erglis said, when I'm sitting with doctors in the same panel, I see them looking at the clock because the operation, they are waiting for them. And there have been times when I say to my colleague, run, because it's more important to be with your patient oftentimes. And we have to stop that, because they have to have normal time for science, not what's left over after daily running. And that's the challenge we face together with the Ministry of Science and with universities. So the model is not there, but I think it's so essential.
And it's very interesting, you know, when you read like 19th century, you know, what happened there, Dostoevsky and then Bulgakov, then you see that all the doctors, they were doing some kind of research experiment. I mean, the Heart of the Dog, for example, the book, right? So he was just an ordinary doctor, but he has to do research, right? So for some reason. And actually we somehow become maybe too professional in a way. And I think this is very important to open your mind, you know, maybe there are other ways you can treat patients. So I think it's very important to have more research and science at healthcare, higher education system.
Let's elaborate. Do you do the experiments on dogs?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I really like a couple things, if I can add, just add, because it is absolutely right, everything. And the one thing we did even, we are now going, Talis is absolutely, I was lucky in that time I attended a school where people from university and technical university, at that time it was Polytechnical Institute, came and teach us, and even in the end of 80s, 70s, programming and all kind of things, and then it was also the math and physics and everything. But one thing what we do now, and with like community, we are going to kindergartens and actually to schools, but it should be done even more. And then Kyle's absolutely right. The problem is not in students, the problem in teachers. And what my main excitement now, if I even have some excitement, is to learn how to teach. To learn how to teach, and this is actually, we should talk about that. It is everywhere. I can speak about that because I'm in many organizations in the European on state levels, United States levels, and other across the world, and we are talking about that. We are, for example, for cardiologists, we have special program, and in Europe and so on. And the same thing was about the research what Talis says and what he touched. This is what Professor Stradins says. His named the University of Stradins, and he says the medicine is craft, science and art. But of course, and especially in this sequences, because you can't go art with no craft and science. And then it is like Picasso, because Picasso draw fantastic. His technique is fantastic technique, and then only he, to jump to completely different field. And that's what we need to do. But I am agree. But why I'm shake the head then, because you see how difficult we can involve this health lesson. And I know very well because Andrejs, she's a Minister of Education and Science, but she was a real doctor, and she was an anesthesiologist and hematologist in Children's Hospital, and even it is, you see how difficult it is to do that. And I completely agree about this, what Aiga mentioned, this mental health, because we want to live longer, but we should live longer with quality of life. Quality of life, it is, and actually if you look even at universal health definition, it is not only your health, it's your family health, it's your population, actually your state health, and even the wars, which is across, really do impact on our, not only mental health, but also physical health. Mm-hmm. And this is the precision medicine. It's not to look on two genes. Again, this is a bit the fashion. I'm not against, I'm really in, but we should not forget the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yes, I will just add on top of this that indeed teaching in universities will be changing because this health care is a lot of things. It starts with data on your population in the most systemic ways possible, like Talis has already mentioned, like not only testing of waters, but even like guessing from the call tendencies what is happening. So this is, and data on your genetic risks, etc., etc. It will go into gadgets because they will more and more measure things and send automatic systems that you are in trouble or things like that. Yes, but also after all of this, exactly what was said, that we all kind of suspect that, let's say, I don't know, salmon and buckwheat and salad is more healthier for us than fried potatoes, but changing habits is notoriously difficult. And so this is behavioral sciences, social science comes on top of it because it's notoriously difficult. We all know this if we have tried to change the habits. And there are a lot of things. For example, it's way easier to change your habits if you indeed have a supportive environment. If suddenly all have to stand and walk across the room, just joking, but giving you an example, it will be easier than just you alone need to think about this. So there are many, many ways how we will more and more need to combine different fields of knowledge to tackle any challenge.
Yes, fantastic. As a team, there is fantastic. I just I think that you have seen what I wanted to follow up, and you touched directly on. We already, as from government side, clearly we are like for last 10 years we are repeating, and now even starting to do that. We have to fund in medical field. Of course, there is medical science, there is STEM, applied STEM sciences, but habit change, it's social science. And is there anything in social science, like you already mentioned, for example, how do you teach? Is there a science, and is it, I know answer, is it funded enough? Is it developed enough to actually have the health system which can tackle all the points which is changing?
You see everything in comparison. I said Latvia is very high educated country, that is historically, and you can't even imagine if you are going, and that's why WHO, if they are giving some, I mean, targets, then it is, you know, it's really, we should understand in each point of planet, because we can access to things which is others can only just dream, and then this is but of course it's the least as you never reach space that you should try to do. But one thing what I really want to say and about education, and you know, we talk you remember, Raimons, we talk that Latvia should be like pilot for world for precision medicine. But again, then precision medicine is clean energy. It's what Talis says about waste and other thing. It is a social sciences and others. And then, because that's why we are so, how to say, prominent in clinical studies, because we can do practically 90 to 100% of follow-up, because we are state with all functions, but actually we are, you know, it's 2 million and we can reach practically everyone. And this is what Talis says, and I like very much. This is challenge, and it is a bit a risk, but the challenge and the opportunities is much more, and we should use this, as well as our Nordic Baltic region, and we do a lot of research together. But what I really mentioned, and what Aiga says, and you mentioned about this digital things. For example, the last ESC Congress, European Congress of Cardiology. 1/3 was digital health. Last year I was in Israel. Now we are facing a very bad situation and terrorism and others. But there was on real government level was discussion about digital health. And if you are talking about microchips, which is so important, I'm always saying that in future, you want or not, you will be chipped like dogs. And this is no question, because then the question is how we can deal with data and data safety and your personal this, but it will be for sure, because then, and even now you can monitor 3 or 4 or 5 features or to what happened with your body, and that's what you says. And again, even if you have a very bad, I mean, genetics, but it's not completely clear. It is a bit, you know, for several diseases we know, but it is not for everything. Then if you have a good habits, your risk is much less to get some bad, I mean, events. In opposite, if you have a very good genetics and bad habits to live. And this is what we need to teach. But one thing what I want to say, actually, how to say it, is sometimes it's not so easy, but I have a grandchild. I see very well, because with my kids, I forgot what I did, because it usually looks like they grow up alone. But with grandkids, I see very well how it is. And you should teach them for teeth brush, to eat in the right way, and to think a right way. And for example, yeah, and that's what Talis says, because we should teach them to be in biology, in maths, but also in sports, and in music, and in mental health.
Yes, Daiga, you touched already about linkage between social sciences and medicine. Probably If yes, you want to add something. But
this approach develops in general and also develops specifically in different areas like health behavior or health communication, yes, health economics itself, but as well health management, I would say. Now we have been participants in different global networks, and all countries speak about the implementation science, about how we implement. Okay, we have scientific developments, we have new, let's say, ideas, but the question is how to implement, because now it's about system, how to implement changes in the system. It's about change management, it's about digital change management. There are a lot of these social science interference with these basic sciences.
Tali?
No, I'm just about how to do the technology really transfer. I think what is changing now is still there's a more opportunity for small companies enter this business, right? I mean, to startups, spin-offs, whatever you call them. But there's because there's more access to technologies, to knowledge, and this is, I think, another emerging trend. So that what could be useful for them is to use, let's say, hospitals as a testing ground, you know, for their development. So, but this is something which is the one way forward. And actually in Latvia there are some good examples, Anatomy Next, for example, and others. So I think this is something we need to cherish, that we need more companies working in a health business, and in this way you will promote more and also have more of technology transfer. Well, this is a question of economical issue, but you know, it's very difficult to ask also, let's say, big hospitals to do, you know, invest a lot of in research. It's I think challenge, but if you have more interaction between the companies, small companies and hospitals, it will create an impact.
I would like to add one thing. Yes, and this is very important, but the next thing is to overcome the silos. Because nowadays we anymore cannot work in silos, because you cannot reach your ultimate goal if you just work with one registry, which is placed in one hospital. Because the patient moves around the system. And therefore overcoming silos is actually the priority of our health system, I would say, because we have a lot of good things, we have developed a lot of news, and new technologies are coming, but the data should move around the system.
Tali, can you, if you have to say, I don't know, 3 points, what is the strongest in Riga Technical University, if you have to present the strong points, especially thinking not about, more about like sectors of what you are doing, what is it?
Related to the medicine, it's of course biomaterials, number one, then data science, artificial intelligence, and I think sensor science. So these three, yeah.
And the same for Riga Stradiņš University. What is these topics which you feel strong?
So medicine, of course, and it's linking academic work to scientific work, because the scientific work and research is really a top priority in medicine field, but as well linking together with the social sciences.
And Latvian University?
No, you see, the Latvian University is not so easy, because I guess that the mission of Latvian University is also to keep how to say, Latvian language, which is very important. This is basics for our nature, and but of course this is a team science, and I guess it is much more than we can expect, and of course in medicine we are, and I'm really sorry, but we are at least at science we are even maybe more, but this is of course, again, I'm not sure that I'm looking on this, that we are a good element in our science ecosystem. And actually the possibility to work together and sometimes to forget those maybe, I don't know how it's called, even egoistic things, it should be the most important for us. And that's why I again and again to ask politicians, to ask ministries, not to talk like each university, but how we can do, like in this, okay, it is, okay, rainbow, doesn't matter how you call it, together. Otherwise, we will lost what we can do. Because for me personally, it's you see, if resident or student coming from Students University, I am professor of University of Latvia, I can't teach or the other cardiology. The cardiology is one, the science is one. And this is how we can, and actually there are the people with whom we did so many things together. What we need to do, we need to beat, to how to say, to destroy the borders and to go for a common target. But yeah, and this is of course again, as you said, the strongest point. But what I really like in the University of Latvia is that it is a free-flowing thoughts, and universities should not be regulated too much. The university is place where you can talk what you want, then you can do at least, no, of course, some borders we should always do somehow to maybe to use, but actually this is a university's perspectives, and I'm really afraid if he wants to put like in army university. It is not army. It is not. It is. It should be like very, I guess, with spirit and with free-minded people.
And I would say it's not egoistic. It's zero-sum game, and it is quite often very important what policy makers, what rules we put on table. Then the game is played. So, but from these 3 points, what you were mentioning, and I know it already without asking, these are 3 very definitely universities which have very specific competencies, which is sometimes overlapping, but mostly they are complying each other. And there are several projects which I think that at least I have seen, which is very strong just because the 3 universities are working together. It was incubators at the beginning. Now it's a unified service center, which is just government never could achieve what on data reusage, what you're already doing. Do you see that this medical education, as there is 3 ministries and 3 universities, could be next playground to figure out how actually these medical education programs, at least to try to have multidisciplinary, which is covering 3 universities, where actually are teaching each university is the best available content?
Yeah, I think there are examples already, as you said, that basically the aim is to provide the best teachers for the best students, right? So this is aim. And of course, the way we fund universities, the way we have a let's say control universities, and how do we build a system? For example, you do the program accreditation. This is affecting how universities are working together. So this is very. I mean, there are small details we can talk a lot about it, but just to give you an example, we have a joint program with Latvian University on bioengineering, biotechnology. I know it because I started this, so I know from the very beginning how many hurdles you need to overcome. And even though now you don't really have option to have a joint diploma, you know, of course you could have, but it's so you have to, you know, kind of doing this. You have to do and then apologize, right? This kind of way. This is the only way you can actually push forward. So if we have the new system, then we have universities, right? I think it was an important step to identify that you have applied universities and you have science universities, and then the strategy should incentivize to have more joint programs, to have more, let's say, exchange of professors. And this is very much depends how you fund, how you regulate, because at the personal level, I think we have very good cooperation. I mean, between scientists, we have joint programs, we have, I mean, study programs, research programs. So this is something which is, I think, what ministry is doing well regarding, you know, having this kind of more corporate governance. I don't want to use this approach to say, let's say, you don't have to look like at this like at a company, how you run university, but in a way that you give more freedom to universities and ask more for results, and then universities will find their own way how to join their forces. So I think we are going in the right direction, and I'm sure with the joint programs, with joint incubators, with joint kind of initiatives, you will have more and more also impact in medicine.
I would like to add that, yeah, really, in recent years, even the administrative burden has increased in universities, and academicians are forced to do a lot of administrative work. And actually, you feel that your spirit is restricted. You cannot just develop your competencies and your academic approach, because actually you are squeezed in these administrative things. And I completely agree that this micromanagement of universities is ruining the potential of development. And even, let's say, you talked about the joint programs. Yes, we are asked to be a part of joint programs on European level, but our legislation actually and rules don't allow to do this, because to overcome this very heavy legislation, that actually you cannot cause a program like this, you cannot move like this. So it really is a great burden.
I'm really happy that I was able to put some proactive things, and you see, it is a reality. I'm really looking forward, and I'm looking for time when I will retire, if I will use the good habits, because then finally I will be able to speak what I want and what I think, and then, you know, because this is how to say, privilege for young guys and for older guys. They can speak whatever. But I am completely agree, and this is you see, of course, we need some organizations, and as Talis says, and this is the future, because the team science, this is the future, and then we should not apologize that we are going for new programs, and then what Daiga add this legislation, but what I also from what I've heard from Aiga and also from you, and then if ministries will be more close each other. And this is, you know, we are so close for so many years with different kind of politicians and government and so on. And I say that it is going in good way. It's no question. But we should even to speed up this, and because there will not be, as you said and as you mentioned, there will not be one profession. The professions are, of course, we need to know something very good. Otherwise, it is, if you are so superficial, it's also not good enough. But actually, we should be, and we should teach our kids. This is more important, and kids in different level. And Talis, I'm when you talk about that kids, and then you says about the high schools, and I start to think about what is the term of kid. And you know, it's also now, it is, you know, the very young doctors from WHO now, the one young people is now 65. The kid is, at least from my experience, it looks like the kid is 40 years old. I don't know, but this is a bit maybe more too philosophical question. But of course, we should start from kindergartens and from first day, and even when this small life inside the mother's, body.
Yes, can I then at this forum we have used for several already, all two times till now, that we agree on something and then we are forced to next year to come back and tell the story, what happened. Can we as ministries and universities try, because the universities, from my understanding, have done the first step of job. There is They are changing medical education. They are starting to be involved. Not starting. You are involved a lot of time, all the time, but each of them are specializing now. The interesting part would be next year sit around the same partners and discuss on Tali what you mentioned. Actually, let's try now whether it's possible to establish pilot program, which is, and by doing this, we could at least find out and eliminate these burdens on in system which is prohibiting it. And from my side, at least, it would be hugely interesting to have a pilot between 3 universities, and let's see what is burdens. And from ministry side, do you see that such a challenge for a year would be interesting?
I would dare to add.
Yep.
This week, OECD experts are evaluating public sector innovation. And what they said that over the years, and while they have been evaluating us, they see a lot of bright, smart, energetic professionals, both in public sector and academia. And then they say, why don't you make it a system that works? Why do you make it a bureaucratic system that makes you reporting? For me too, we have meeting at 9 o'clock in the ministry. I can't read those protocols. There's no time. And you have to change the mindset. What do you report on? Of course, there has to be traces what you do. So I would even dare to nudge you further to be brave enough and see where are those bureaucratic hindrances and where reports can take other form. I have done it for my ministry because we're collaborating very closely with doctors. When they say, why do we still need to do that? There is this electronic record. And what we will do in the ministry, that colleagues who are drafting the papers will go for a week to the hospital. For instance, the first pilot project Agreer is from integrated care unit. And I asked her, please go to see what's going on there and only then submit the paper. And other thing I think we have to see that we are great innovators, great initiators, but bad evaluators at the end. But there's a lot to learn. Thanks.
Yes. Ministry of Education.
Well,
do you dare?
I would like to say that we have a lot of plans what to do with the higher education and what to change in higher education. And no, I don't promise to do everything in a year. We will go crazy and we don't have resources for that. So we will start next year with a pilot project of how to finance university differently. This is one thing, and this is already will be a lot of internal changes for university and a lot of different thinking. I actually don't agree that we micromanage universities now. I wouldn't say so. Latvian universities are quite autonomous in European perspective, but still we would like to go more into this direction. So first, pilot project on how to finance universities differently, more outcome, less process. This is one thing. We have a plan to change the legislation on accreditation, which touches all different things, including diplomas, etc. But no, I don't think we will do it next year. It's more like 2-3 years project also to start it gradually. And well, to be honest, I was recently at the conference of European Universities Initiative in Barcelona and went to Picasso Museum, as a side note. And yes, you should learn the basics and then you can break the rules. But what I would like to say is that also they were saying, oh, but we cannot issue joint diplomas, so many hurdles. The only thing I was thinking, is it really like the most pressing goal to issue a common diploma? Because I think you need to bring your students a better content, a better study process. But who issues diploma? Is it one university diploma or joint diploma? Is it really like the goal in itself? And I don't see it as a goal in itself. So that's why I'm not saying that, oh, this is the issue we need to tackle next year. No,
yes,
my opinion, no.
Yep.
So, but we need to change this accreditation legislation and change a lot in accreditation, fair enough. And plan is again to go for institutional accreditation. So you don't submit separate program, even separate directions, but you go for the institution. Just the institution should be mature enough by itself to be good enough by this process. So it should change a lot, and I agree that changes are needed, yes, but probably not at once. We also need to change academic careers and micro-credentials and few other small things here and there, and how we prepare teachers, but this is like, it will be a long list, but yes, we have a lot of homework, yes.
From my side, as a ministry, I can say that we are great fans of sandboxes and experiments and pilot projects. So at least in this medical education part, we will be glad to. And as a party which don't understand a lot of technicalities, we would be ready. And what I can say, we can bring all the players around the table and let's do one experiment, whether the systemic changes which is going on actually tackles the problems on ground. Because I do understand that probably, and this is thing which from my experience, is that sometimes, yes, from looking from helicopter view, probably this problem is not but the biggest one. But, as I said, this zero-sum game, when we push the rules which put you together, knowing that there is motivations in the system, in each of the entity, and if they are pushing you in competition, then it's bringing to this not cooperation part. This is it, what I wanted. Do I have to, by rules, ask questions to the auditorium? Because we are ready for 1.5 hours. Yes, if there is questions, then I'm happy.
Hi, I have a question for Professor Erglis. In the start of discussion, you mentioned some data collected by people living in Latvia, what our habits are, what our health stats are, what are not being used. I was wondering, where do we have such data and how can we use those?
First of all, I guess we should spread the data and we should talk and analyze together with politicians. And, sorry?
Who are the keeper of the data? Where are they? For the researchers to know.
This University of Latvia and actually it's government. It is actually this is the Ministry of Health, and they have a data. They have a data because it was funded by European program, and they have a data. They have a data, and this is unfortunately what we usually not. Aiga, it's not.
We initiate, but we don't evaluate what happens and where it lands, and I think it's a very crucial problem because a lot of work has been done, recommendations given, and then they land, and all the projects just pile up. Like Daiga has been asking me, what did you do with this project? What did you do with that? And there is great potential.
Actually, it was not like, how to say, I wanted to say something wrong to ministry. The problem is that I guess that we have so many, first of all, what we are not having, we have not real institute of what we call like NICE in UK or other institutions in other countries. And that's what Daiga mentioned, that we have sometimes separate data, but we can't use like countries this, and this is what we need more to discuss with. For example, to sit together and analyze. We start to do that, but unfortunately, these unmet needs, which is daily needs, it's much how to say.
Pressing.
Yeah.
But may I just whisper? I can't give all the details because Minister is going to announce it himself, but actually it's being. What do you call it, brought back to life, the idea that there needs to be not only data available, but then what do we do it? So about the institution, we will discuss it in the weeks to come, but the minister says that he sees a necessity, and I see that universities will be great players in that. So,
absolutely.
Yes, question.
Yes, Ian Viko.
Sorry. It's okay. You stand.
At first, I would like to say that those are excellent experts in hiding elephant in the room, because there was more than an hour talk about the public health, how to live healthier, health education, and so. But for me as a patient, the main problem is availability of the doctors. And yesterday, I saw some other persons who were in the conference, where the chair of general practitioners, Liga Kozlovska, shared the data that in this year there were 53 state-paid residency places for family doctors and only 38 applications. So there is no interest even in study in this residency of family doctors. So what universities are doing to attract these young doctors?
It's not a question about universities, it's a question about state policy, and we did mistakes. We really did mistakes. And for example, for GPs, and unfortunately there is no LIAA. I know LIAA for so many years, Dr. Kozlovska. I am really disagree with education of GPs. And the biggest problem, if residency is 3 years, you can learn 0. This is nobody wants to be honest. As I said, I'm becoming older and older. I can talk more and more. Because this is the biggest problem for us. We should not to go for quantity. We should go for quality. Because but because again, you are a bit, you are quick. I will want to say that if you do more effective work, then you can get better result. And this is sometimes it is a really big problem, because people are sending you to different kind of examinations, but they can't to conclude what is in reality. And that's why we are going in like in negative spiral, and we should change this.
But what you suggest as a professor to deal with this problem? Because for me as a patient, I want to have my at least family doctor in 5 years or some.
Absolutely, yeah. But this is what I want to say. For example, for me, I can't explain this problem, because if one family doctor have 1,500 patients, we do in our lab in hospital, we do 50 operations per day. For me, it is a bit unexplainable. But this is always a question about politics. For example, what we need really to ask for outcomes. And this is answer to your question. I with you, I understood very well, but it's also for me, it is unexplainable.
I would like to add, because we have surveyed new doctors, residents, why don't they chose GP specialty, and I would say that this is a result of health policy for several years, because yes, we pay for quantity. It means that general GPs need as much patients they can, even if the recommendation is to have no more than 2,000 patients per practice. We have practices even with 7,000 patients, and this is not a normal environment. And what students say, this environment and this system actually doesn't allow them to choose this situation, this specialty. And the second is the environment, because they do not want to work in silos. They cannot do perfectly their work if they are alone. They want to work in integration. They want to be integrated with the regional hospital. They need the same data systems for collection data, for exchange, and so on. It's about technology, it's about team, it's about new system.
No, but I don't know your name, but I completely agree with you. But Daiga didn't answer me. We try now and hopefully with Aiga we will continue this about this cardiovascular, doesn't matter how we call this cabinets, doesn't matter how we call, and there should be support to GPs. But what we are getting from GPs, they says we need not that.
I think it's about the team.
My question, for example, I also can't understand how it is. The question is very, how to is honest. Why in 5 years you can't reach your GP doctor? No, could you answer this?
I think it's about the team, both on the ministries level, both on the GPs representatives, about a team and openness. What I really like about Professor Erglis is that he asks very direct question, painful, but at the same time, if you don't look at it, you can't go further. And we've been talking with general practitioners even more so, knowing the statistics, how many of them could leave the NHS agreement and how many patients could be without general practitioner. At the same time, you can't just look at the number of patients and practitioners, because sometimes the team makes wonders and also give you a solution. This could be done differently. There we need to have new algorithms how we treat the diseases. So it's a complex and huge issue. And I would say that for 30 years, not only in healthcare, we have been living like stars, and you've been boasting something new you found and you become boasting about it. I just recently updated my CV and I realized that in 2002, I wrote that I like long-term planning. Now I write that I like balancing. Well, and so we change over the time, and it's natural. And I think you have to bear also sometimes with the system, that system-wise, you never hit the perfect answer with the first time, or hardly ever you do so. But it depends on the collaboration, how open is also the ministry, how open are the doctors and all the stakeholders who are in the play, because Daiga will confirm that we're trying to convince the doctors. We are paying actually now additional money for doctors to move out in the countryside and provide healthcare. But then our Austrian colleagues say, well, we have failed, so good luck and look for the opportunity.
Before your question, just with that, because I'm not against GPs, we are very collaborate. We are really collaborate, but there is not common standards, as you says. There's not common standards because we have 90 or 80% brilliant GPs. Unfortunately, we have also a part which is, and I guess what we need to go, as you says, because this is a bit different, how it's in universities. If it is in university, you are free-flowing or free-minded. The medicine is a regulated profession. And I guess we need standards, as we need standards for cardiologists, for neurologists, for abdomen surgeons, and as well for GPs. And measured, and we should measure what they do. For example, for me, it is, as I said, yesterday was, we did valvoplasty for aortic valve, and there was a calcium, which is like stone. And then I asked to this guy, but listen, how you can, you know, it's not happened in one day. It's happened in 10 years. Come on. And then, of course, if you are looking on cases like this one, then of course you are asking, but listen, how it could happen in 21st century? In Bulgakov was in 20th century, it's not in that. But you're absolutely right, and how it's happened in 21st century in Latvia.
I wanted to thank the panel very much for an absolutely fascinating conversation that I've waited 20 years to hear. I teach medical students to use supercomputers at 2 different universities in the UK from a European Commission-funded Horizon 2020 grant. And it is really interesting to hear your comments on multidisciplinarity in education, because I can teach them by myself at University College London, but at Sheffield, I co-teach with somebody because there's no me there. So I would be really interested to carry on this conversation in other fora, but to know your ideas on how we can develop the next generation of academics, because it's incredibly difficult to change the medical curriculum.
I can tell that that's what we are doing with UK guys, and they are usually leading that.
So I know there's no time, but just as a benchmark,
yeah,
fabulous work. We would love to do whatever it takes to help.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. You have a question?
I'm medical doctor's background, about the use of artificial intelligence in medical education, also in the primary school, high school. How would you comment? I hear always from Dr. Erglis, he will be retired, so, but it's possible to make his view, his voice can be also recorded, and the students actually can be forever be educated by him, and the artificial intelligence can know about his publications, and with the conversations and with the new publications or with the new developments can learn and teach accordingly. And actually, there was one sentence: best students are taught by best teachers. But you can adjust your education level for the students' knowledge, train accordingly, and about the workload of the physicians, of the teachers, with administrative staff, you can gain time. And what's your view for the future? Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much. And we just were together in States, and I really want what Aiga says, that maybe, and because, you know, it's very important, is wording. sometimes it looks like not, but actually wording is important. And I'm not so happy about this artificial intelligence. I've used this, for many years, and as like precision medicine, we are working on team science, and as I says, we use this, and it's no question. And usually, it looks like we will use this in next 20 years, but then we should ask ourselves what will be the next step. And what I really like much more the smart tools, because you know this. If you look on iPhone, or doesn't matter, I have a very old one, but actually the gadgets are coming more and more, and it's no question. And we should use the new tools, and it doesn't matter. We also can call like artificial intelligence. But what I really don't like, really don't like to lose our human intelligence. Because, and this is again, for example, we are working with also in state level with Roche and Microsoft. And then the biggest question is, for example, if you look how we can get, we are using data, you use raw data. But then it's question how we interpret it and what will be this first raw data what we will put in this artificial intelligence. Because if you, for example, doesn't matter, one PubMed database, and you can put, for example, 5 different articles for the same topic, and there will be completely 5 different answers there. And we should somehow, because this final decision for a patient always will be made by human. It's like pilots in planes. They are responsible for not only for passenger lives, but also for own lives. And this is what, as I said, I guess artificial intelligence should be used like tool which can help in many fields. And it is future for sure. It's no question. The question is how we can interpret this. And the question is I mean, interaction between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
I also mean complementary. I don't want to replace you.
Absolutely.
You go to university.
Okay.
You have
Absolutely.
or whatever in your
Tali?
I think it's just a tool, one of the tools which helps us to make better decisions. That's it. I mean, you had them. We developed microscope. It helped us. We took other technologies. It helps you, and you just have to be aware of the ability. And of course, I think they also can help a lot for this GP, we call it, Ģimenes.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. So it could be very helpful if you have enough data. So in this sense, you can be more efficient, more, let's say, accurate, and it's just like any other tool. So I think we have to look at it like this, and of course, we have to be ready. Like it's a different topic. We can talk for this. Like how does it affect education system? It's the same. You have another tool. How do we teach students now? We have to take into account that we have another tool, and we have to teach to use this tool.
Just simple example. Also, usually people don't like that, especially in this fashion, in this time of what we are having now. We are talking so much of artificial intelligence in radiology. I am basically, first, my profession is rentgenologist, now it's radiologist, and then how we use this in radiology. But what is the biggest problem, that what is now, it's a huge discussion between for example, European Association of Radiologists and European Society of Cardiologists, that they says that we should use radiology like tool, because with clinical understanding you can't read imaging. And then again, it's not enough that you see some structures. You should interpret structures from your knowledge, but not only in clinical setting, also in biological setting, metabolic setting, and social setting. And this is, if you can put everything, but still it will not be enough, because you should touch, you should smell, and you should see eyes of patient. This is what I want to say. Like again, but I have 5 years before retirement.
But with these 3 points, I would like to finalize this. This was perfect panelists, and it was fantastic auditorium. It is 1.5 hours, and you're still asking questions. I will learn from this. Next time, we will start with questions, because I think that it would be probably took a different. But for me, it was very interesting, and I'm glad to see all of you here. And thank you very much for participating there. Thank you.